internal massage. So, Bali was fun because the Shaivites and the Vajracharyas, the Tantrakas from Shiva, and the Vajracharyas are supposed to be mutually present with the king whenever they do a serious ritual. So they still have what I think ancient India had. It's a very friendly relationship. There's some philosophical arguments, of course, what goes on, but that goes on among the Buddhists and among the Hindus with each other as well. But there wasn't this big gulf that you feel in India nowadays. It was, and Bali has a little, Nepal a little bit has that feeling, and Bali very much.
Southeast Asia in general, like I know in Thailand, they, it's dominantly, a Buddhist culture, but they used, the Brahmin influence is just.
Sure.
And all the rituals, they would use Brahmin.
They did, but up until the 14th, I think, or 15th century, most of the Southeast Asian countries had Mahayana and Vajrayana. And therefore that got along with the Brahmins and the royal rituals. But then later some stuff happened, and then the Sri Lankan came in with a sort of very rigid Theravada thing that makes them very nervous. Like if you give a talk in Bangkok, in like Buddhadasa Archive or something, one of the sort of most liberal places, and you talk Mahayana, they kind of think it's fun. But you mention Tantrayana and the monks take a hike. Yeah. They do, they like say, oh, excuse me, they're afraid some female might come and get them or something. No, seriously, it's a problem. But they're beginning, like we had here just now with the Tibetan doctor, we had a young Thai guy who was really wanting to study Vajrayana and Mahayana and stuff, and he was saying that there's a movement and he's going to be part of it, blah, blah, blah. So it's going to be a big deal. But the monks are still pretty Theravada, the Sri Lanka kind of orthodoxy. Sri Lanka itself had Vajrayana and Mahayana, actually, before, up to the 10th, 11th century. Got wiped out. Because they were too peaceful. Had to get conquered.
Yeah, that's true also in North India too.
Sorry?
I mean, in India.
Yes. Yeah.
What happened?
They got steamrolled. Well, they got steamrolled by a bunch of Tajiks and Uzbeks and Iranians and not really the Arabs. The Arabs were there a long time before, trading with boats and things. But the actual land invasions were
Indo-European.
mostly newly converted to Islam and therefore unified by Islam.
And therefore
tribal sort of Turkic types, Tajik, Uzbek, Hazaras, people like that. Pashtuns, the famous Pashtun. So because Islam made them tribal fighting, instead of fighting each other, they got unified and they conquered everything.
Yeah.
So
there's newly converted people are more dangerous.
Pretty much, yeah. And of course, the wealth of not only of the Buddhism, but the Hindu temples and the Buddhist things like that I was just reading about the Chinese guy was just unbelievable. The giant golden Shivas and Vishnus and Buddhas and female Buddhas and really gold and all encrusted with jewels and huge golden stupas. Like, it's incredible the wealth, that attracted people to India. It's amazing. And that I think Babar and these conquerors, there are Muslim records that add up the metric tons of jewels and gold and stuff that they would take out of all the temples. Hindu temples too. They destroyed thousands of them. But they couldn't destroy Hinduism because they couldn't destroy the villages because they needed the people to work in the villages, and then the caste system was convenient to keep them from rebelling. But the Buddhist monasteries, they totally destroyed, burned all the books and the monks. And that's a big change. But luckily, the knowledge had fled up into Tibet. So really, I'm very devoted to Dalai Lama, and Dalai Lama always says he is the son of Nalanda. You all know what Nalanda is? Nalanda was the great Indian university of the first millennium, even beginning before in the BCE centuries, which core faculty were mostly Buddhist monks, but and a lot of them were from the Brahmin or Kshatriya class, of course, themselves. And then also Brahmins studied there, and they had medical schools, and they had architectural schools, and they had drama schools and poetry schools. I mean, it was not just Dharma. It was all different kinds of sciences and things. It was like the Oxford or Harvard or something of the time for 1,000 years. and it was completely burned down in 1172 by Bakhtiyar, a guy called Bakhtiyar. And all the amazing temples, all the gold and everything were taken. They burned all the books. The books burned for 6 months or something. But luckily, thousands of them were translated into Tibetan, and that's what we're trying to do. This one did survive in Sanskrit, the Kala Chakra. And maybe I'll try to get some of the verses out of the scan that I have in the Kala Chakra text. So you can chant that, or we can read that later. I have 21 verses here that we'll slowly work on and explain in some sessions what all this means, you know. They have this odd idea that the Lady Wisdom, I'm mistranslating here, I should have said immaterial yet manifesting matter. The Mrs. Kalachakra, whose name is Vishvamata, that her body has no atoms. It's not only a pure mental body, it's an energy body, but it is a level of energy where there's no atoms. The atoms are too coarse. And actually also the Kalachakra does, which is a really interesting concept. I'm very fascinated by it. You know, if you think that your body, do you think your body is made of atoms, for example? I was thinking about this because I've been looking into this topic. We would be told, right, by a doctor, well, you have molecules, or your DNA, oh, you have this bad DNA, you better like amputate your elbow or something. Something weird will grow in it. You know what I mean? So we think we have cells and molecules, and we're in meat space, right? What they call meat space. Right? That's where we are. We're in meat space, and this is the meat, this is me. Okay, but now wait. And if you, I read this thing. Sir Arthur Eddington in 1924 wrote a book in which he said this whole world is an illusion. He said, I have 2 desks in my study. One is a wooden desk with the papers on it and I write, and one is just a, visual collection of atoms. And I sort of keep my thoughts on that one because nothing will rest on it because the atoms are empty, right? There's a nucleus, an electron, it's really nothing there.
Yeah.
He even wrote that. That was before major quantum. Now with quantum, they're desperately down there chasing the Higgs boson. You saw that in the newspaper last summer, right? They really freaked out, the men mostly, physicists, and they're trying to find out why there is a sense of mass. How does it happen? Because everything keeps coming apart. Totally falls apart. And then they get down to light particles, and then really weird shit happens. Spooky action at a distance, and something spinning like black holes make things, and you can feel it centuries, like light years later. I mean, it's so weird. They can't feel it. So they want something that will give them mass of the visible spectrum of the universe, which is only 3% of the matter. The yang part is only 3%. No wonder males are insecure. The dark matter and dark energy is 97%, and they haven't seen it yet. Are they in control or what? Right? So this idea is what I'm saying is actually we could go to the level of atoms even, and our meat space hand would be mostly empty space with something swishing around in it. But then actually those things come apart, those electrons and those things, and finally we get to the photon, which is light, and it's moving at its own speed, so it's at that boundary where, as a particle, if it hits its speed, its own natural speed, mass is infinite, so it's everywhere. It's like the clear light of the void.
Yeah, so each
right?
point is everywhere.
Right?
Each point is the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's just like some of these books.
Exactly. So that means that we're actually made of light, too. But she is formally made of light. So, they're conceding that we think we're in meat space and we're trying to get out of it or something, and we're trying to understand it or whatever. We're dealing with being meat for something to devour. Universe to devour in death through death or aggression or whatever. And so that's why we're so worried about everything. But actually, everything is actually just pure light, and somehow we've configured it through our ignorance into this lumpy stuff, is the idea. So the idea is that that's what I said form, because in the old days people translated rupa. which can mean a visual object, and that's why the translators always translated rupa as form, because it means rupa comes from rup, to make a mark on something. So rupa, a verb, you know. So rupa means form as a visual object, but as matter itself, you know, like even invisible matter, like wind or something, that's also rupa. So that one should be translated matter. So she, immaterial, I was following the whole thing, I should have. She, immaterial, still manifesting matter. So the idea, therefore, that Kalachakra tells us is that enlightenment means where you live consciously from the state of being pure light. And you could manifest matter in meat space to engage with beings trapped in meat space who seeking liberation and seeking happiness. I mean, they're not seeking liberation, except they think they'll be happy, right? Seeking happiness, right? So sukha, bliss, seeking bliss, right? Isn't that what everybody's seeking, right? So isn't that fun? I like that. I'm very liking that.